In this lesson, we're going to discuss threat intelligence feeds. Now, as we move through this lesson, we're going to cover some basic concepts in the world of threat intelligence and where we can gather threat intelligence from by using open source intelligence feeds, proprietary or third-party feeds, feeds from information sharing organizations, and information that we gather from the dark web. Now, before we do that, though, let's take a moment to define what threat intelligence actually is. Threat intelligence is a continual process used to understand the threats faced by an organization. Depending on your organization's business and its missions, you're going to be facing different kinds of threats. So it's important to understand your own business and the threat environment that it's going to be focused on. For example, if you work at a nuclear power plant, you're facing different threats and attacks than somebody who works at a high school might. By understanding your own organization and then looking at the different threats that are out there, you can better identify which threats are more likely to affect you and therefore prepare yourself to defend against those threats. Now, threat intelligence is focused on analyzing evidence-based knowledge about an existing or emerging hazard to our asset. Threat intelligence is going to combine data from a large number of sources to provide us with the context, mechanisms, indicators, implications, and actionable information about a given threat. Threat intelligence has become a big business as well, with companies like FireEye providing subscription services to help keep cybersecurity professionals up to date on the latest attacks, vulnerabilities, threats, mitigations against zero-day attacks, and much more. Now, information technology changes quickly, and so it's important that we understand that the types of attacks that we're going to observe are also going to change quickly too. Back in the old days, threat actors focused their attacks on server-side attacks because servers always had at least some ports and protocols open by default. After all, their job as a server is to have open services that can be utilized by authorized clients. But as administrators have done a better job of protecting those servers, threat actors have moved on to easier targets, which in this case is the clients. Now, client-side attacks focus on targeting vulnerabilities in the client applications. Threat actors have found that many clients are not well secured because users don't maintain a hardened device configuration or they simply don't perform the proper patching and updates when needed. Also, users often install additional software in their clients, which also opens up additional vulnerabilities that could be exploited by a threat actor. Now, on our enterprise networks, we can implement things like Network Access Control or NAC to help scan client computers before we allow them to connect to our network. This can help minimize our risk of spreading infections across our other clients that are also connected to our network because we're keeping those clients out that haven't already passed our security test. Because of this, a lot of clients are becoming much more secure because NAC can place them into isolation until they're updated and properly configured and then give them access to the network. But again, threat actors have been pivoting their attack methods as our clients have become more secure. Now, as users have begun moving more and more into a mobile environment, simultaneously, the amount of malware for those devices, like iOS and Android devices, have also risen in turn. To help mitigate this new threat, enterprises are using mobile device management and mobile application management software to better control the configurations and use of their organization's mobile devices. Also, threat actors have noticed the large move by organizations into the cloud and the widespread adoption of virtualization. Because of this, many of the newest attacks are being developed around exploiting these technologies too. So, now that we have a better understanding of threat intelligence, let's talk about threat intelligence feeds. Now, a threat intelligence feed is a continuous stream of data related to the potential or current threats that an organization's security might be facing. Threat intelligence data is collected, analyzed, and disseminated by security researchers, organizations, or automated tools, and it's then used to provide real-time or near real-time updates on various aspects such as new malware signatures, indicators of compromise, malicious IP addresses, URLs, and much more. There are many different kinds of feeds that can be used by an organization so they can stay abreast of the latest security threats, and that way they can proactively enhance their security posture. This threat intelligence can be received from various sources, including open source intelligence, proprietary or third-party feeds, information sharing organizations, and the dark web. So let's take a quick look at each of these four sources of threat intelligence that we can be using inside of our organization. First, we have open source intelligence. Now, open source intelligence, also known as OSINT, is the intelligence that's being collected from publicly available sources, including reports, forums, news articles, blogs, and social media posts. Open source intelligence feeds can be a great source of information, and they're usually available at no cost to you. Some popular open source intelligence feeds include those provided by Alien Vault's Open Threat Exchange, the SANS Internet Storm Center, and various forums and blogs where security researchers share any new findings that they've identified out in the wild. By utilizing open source intelligence, organizations can gain insights into the emerging threats and vulnerabilities without having to invest heavily in proprietary solutions. Now, this brings us to our second option, which is a proprietary or third-party feed. Now, proprietary or third-party feeds are threat intelligence feeds that are being provided by commercial vendors, usually under a subscription service type of business model. These proprietary feeds often offer more refined, analyzed, and timely information than what you might find in an open source intelligence feed. Some of the best known companies that provide proprietary threat intelligence feeds are FireEye, McAfee, and Symantec. Each of these companies allows their feeds to be integrated into security information and event management tools and other security tools to provide our cybersecurity analysts with actionable insights and an automated threat response capability. Third, we have information sharing organizations. There are information sharing organizations and alliances that have been formed to share threat intelligence among their members. For example, the Information Sharing and Analysis Centers and the Information Sharing and Analysis Organizations were created to foster collaboration among businesses in similar industries and sectors, like all of the companies working in finance or healthcare or energy, to allow them to share and receive information about the threats and vulnerabilities that are specific to their particular industries. By joining an information sharing organization, your business will learn from the collective experience and insights of a community that understands their unique challenges and threats, and you'll also give your data into that collective so they can learn from you too. Fourth and finally, we have the dark web. Now, the dark web is a part of the internet that is intentionally hidden and inaccessible through standard web browsers. While the dark web is most often associated with illegal activities, it can also be a great source of threat intelligence for security researchers. Now, security researchers and organizations will sometimes explore the dark web forums and marketplaces to try and uncover the information about new hacking techniques and tools, stolen data, and emerging threats that are existing there on the dark web. By understanding what is happening in the dark web, your organization's security researchers will have a better heads up on potential threats before they become public knowledge too. So, as you can see, threat intelligence feeds are an essential tool in a cybersecurity professional's toolkit. By gathering information from various sources, you can ensure that you remain up to date on the latest threats and are well prepared to defend your organization against those threats. Regardless of whether you're relying on open source feeds, subscribing to third-party proprietary intelligence feeds, participating in information sharing organizations, or exploring the dark web, staying informed is going to be the key to maintaining a stronger organizational security posture. Since the threat landscape in cybersecurity is always evolving and changing, we have to remain up to date and proactive by leveraging threat intelligence feeds so that we can stay ahead of the new threats and we can avoid falling victim to them in the future.